Hi, it's been a busy week and it's time to do another radio show. To recap the events that unfolded recently, the nation watched helplessly as a little boy flew solo across country in a makeshift balloon shaped like a UFO. Yeah, that's about what it looked like, or so we thought. That was until everyone's prayers were answered when it was discovered he was safe. Apparently he had been hiding for 4 hours, an unusually long period of time for someone that age, I think. The longest I ever ran away from home was like 2 hours, and then my mom started baking cookies. Falcon Heaney, also known as the Balloon Boy, and the boy's inventor father, Richard, who looks a little bit like Brad Pitt, were interviewed by news crews outside the family's home. They said he had been hiding in the garage. The camera kept zooming in on the missing ceiling tile during this sequence for dramatic effect. Presumably the boy was hiding up there. Apparently Richard, billed as an amateur scientist in a 2007 article in the Denver Post, is an avid storm chaser and documentary filmmaker researching the possibility of detecting magnetic fields in storms. CNN's Wolf Blitzer interviewed the family, and when asked why he hadn't come out when he was called, the little boy said, "We did this for the show." Now that just made it look like a total publicity stunt to me, but after interviewing the family some more, the news people sided with the father, who maintained that the boy was probably talking about the camera crew that was there earlier. Now it's hard for me to take any particular side. The boy seems a little out of it, or maybe he's stressed out about the whole affair. He keeps glancing around at the ceiling like he's looking for a place to escape. I can't say that I blame him. I saw another interview with the boy's father where he talks about his inventing science and the Byfield-Brown effect. Now I have to stop here and totally debunk this. Those of us who have done any actual science know that the Byfield-Brown effect is really just ion wind. He says there is some wires and high voltage hooked up to it, but I don't see any fine wires or electrical insulators around the edge of the balloon in the footage or when the balloon landed. There is another thing about this story that doesn't check out. He even talks about how he's afraid of one of the boys would get in there and electrocute himself. Not the best thing to say in front of a news crew. However, after giving it some thought about what kind of story I would want this to be, I would rather have this turn out to be not to be a publicity stunt, and have the world quietly forget this, even though something tells me deep down that won't happen. It just fits too closely with my cynical worldview. What struck me about this story is I had already created another video last November featuring a vaguely similar design to this balloon, and I've always been afraid someone will try and build it and fly away like this, go crashing into power lines, or worse. I leave several key details out of my published material for this reason. Like it isn't really apparent that the upper section of this model is filled with helium to make it almost neutrally buoyant. The landing gear is not shown, controls are not shown. I figure if people are smart enough to fill in the missing details, they might be smart enough to take some basic safety precautions and use a little common sense, such as not just taking off. Building models first, lots of them, keeping them tied down securely in 3 places during testing, filling out their last will and testament, filing a flight plan before departure. Being away from kids, civilization, especially airports and military bases would be good, unless of course they want to turn it into a publicity stunt. Okay, fine, let's all play with large balloons. Just don't put wires in them. Keep them tied down, okay?